This is actually something that I could get involved with that can, and in my opinion, will make a difference. And quite frankly, I got tired of yelling at the TV and posting on Facebook.
I just wanted something that I could do that gave me purpose besides just complaining. And so this is something that we're doing to educate and inform all the people around us.
Somewhat reluctantly, I was never I might be classified as a non-voter most of my life until recently.
I'm Mark Peterson. Did 20 years in the military, married, I have 5 grandchildren, 4 children. I was always interested in what I could possibly do in a volunteer mode.
My name's Vicki Buckley. I'm a former makeup artist and a former special ed teacher, and I'm a volunteer with Convention of States. And the reason I'm a volunteer is that I got sick and tired of what was happening to our culture, and it was scaring me, because I have 4 grandsons, and I did not like where it was going. Kids don't know their civics, they don't know their history, and Convention of States is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that supports the Article 5 Convention.
My name is Chuck Conley. I'm a concerned grandfather, entrepreneur, and always been a hard worker. And sitting on the beach, trying to be retired, I came across from my neighbor, Convention of States. I started to look into the situation of things going on where I live and decided that I should be involved.
Convention of States, the only legal, constitutional, non-military way to get power back to the people.
We need to call a Convention of States. And according to Article 5 of the Constitution, that's just what we have a right to do in this country. If 34 states agree, through the legislative process, we can call a Convention of States.
During the original Constitutional Convention, all the delegates were there and they were ready to ratify the U.S. Constitution until George Mason stood up and said, "Hey guys, we forgot something." We gave all the power to the U.S. Congress to call for amendments to the Constitution, but we didn't give those same rights to the states. So at that point, George Mason introduced the Article 5 provision allowing the states to call for a convention. And no one at the convention disagreed with it. It was immediately ratified. And it was put there specifically for what's happening today.
Our founders were brilliant. They thought, what if our government becomes the bully, like England was? How do we reel it back in? And Article 5 in the Constitution says, when 34 states get together and agree to have a convention, then they can get together, propose amendments, create them, and then send them out to 38 states to ratify. Congress is not the only one who can make amendments. And the feds don't want you to know that, because they have all the power right now. And to get power back to the people, we need a Convention of States.
The Convention of States has adopted 3 pillars to go to the convention with. The first pillar, we want to put restrictions on federal spending. God knows we got $33 trillion in debt.
We need to know where our money's going. You know how much money they don't even know where it is?
How can any organization operate without a balanced budget?
Number 2, and this is very broad reaching, is to limitations on federal overreach. We did not allow in our Constitution for a Department of Education, a Department of Transportation, a Department of whatever you want. We didn't vote for that. These are appointed departments within the executive branch, within other branches of government, that we had no say. And those are the ones that are dictating your life.
We can do it ourselves. Just like our forefathers, we can govern ourselves. We don't need the nanny state to tell us how to act, be, and where to be, and to sit on our couch and pay us to stay home and what have you. We can get our own jobs, we can be educated, and we can be self-empowered. And that's how our forefathers intended it, and that's what I would like us to come back to.
And finally is to introduce term limits. Term limits to everyone.
We need term limits.
We shouldn't have representatives be there for 50 years. This is not a lifelong career.
So those are the 3 avenues that we have to talk about in the Convention of States, so it doesn't get sidetracked by a lot of other possible amendments. We'll propose amendments around those 3 topics only.
It's not about left or right, it's about the people. It's about having representation, it's about spending our money wisely, and it's about letting us make decisions at the state level.
It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. It's just common sense.
I don't even need to explain to everyone what's going on. This is just common sense. Everyone knows that our country is on the verge of collapse. It really is.
And we can see what's going on around the country, that it needs people to stand up, speak up, show up, and make a difference in their communities. It has to start there. And my objective is to do that in my community, and then let it progress to the rest of the state and the other states around the country.
This is the time. This is maybe your last chance. We've got 19 states. We need 15 more. We can get there. We can get 50 states together talking about how we can fix our country. Think about that for a second. 50 different states. And each state gets only one vote. That's it. We need 38 states, and we can ratify amendments to the Constitution without the U.S. federal Congress.
If you want to have a purpose, if you want to save your country, if you don't want to say there's nothing I can do and then just give up, then be active. Action is the best thing you can do.
And I don't care whether you're a 16-year-old or 106. It's your duty. You're a patriot if you get on board with this. It's simple. It's saving the country, bringing back states' rights, and giving us the authority to dictate our future.
You know, your grandfather died for you, or your father died for you in World War II, and now you're not even going to try to save the country?
We need people to step up, show up, speak up. You can start by signing our petition, which will go to your legislators in every district in the country, and show them your support. From there, we look for volunteer activists, and that's even better. Take our survey, become a volunteer activist with Convention of States.
Convention of States.
Convention of States.
Convention of States.
Just come, get plugged in, and know there is hope.